I'll start playing your
One Love.
Turn down your if you're on YouTube, turn it down. All right.
People shouting like they got the answer. Louder and louder now, I'm drowning in a sea of anger. Quick to judge, pass the blame, assign the labels. Wish we'd all stop acting like we're strangers and we could see underneath. We are one family, and it don't matter where you come from. Every heart beats to the rhythm of one love. One love, one love. Every heart beats to the rhythm of one love. Every heart beats to the rhythm of one. What we could rise above division, look for the good, and take the time to really listen to everybody, every voice and every color. Give love as we were made to love each other, and even if we disagree, we are one family, and it don't matter where you come from. Every heart beats to the rhythm of one love. One love, one love. Every heart beats to the rhythm of one. Every heart beats to the rhythm. Every heart beats to the rhythm. Every heart beats to the rhythm of one love. Every heart beats to the rhythm. Every single heart beats to the rhythm. Every heart beats to the rhythm. Every heart beats to the rhythm. Beats to the rhythm. Beats to the rhythm. Every single heart. Every heart beats to the rhythm of one love. One love. One love. Every heart beats to the rhythm of one. Beats to the rhythm of one. Every heart beats to the rhythm of one. Beats to the rhythm of one. Every heart beats to the rhythm of one. Every heart beats to the rhythm of one love.
Beautiful.
Thank
Ladies
you.
and gentlemen, my guest Patricia Bahia.
All right. Thanks for having me, Cathy. This is awesome.
Did that song win some
Yes,
stuff?
it won a number of awards. I believe, I think 3 maybe. It won the Peace Song Award,
Oh,
the Positive Music Award, and it also placed in the John Lennon Songwriting Contest. Yeah,
cool.
so
Oh, that's interesting. That's kind of hard to get placed in, isn't it?
yeah, I think so. I've been lucky. I've gotten a bunch of songs have won the finals.
Oh,
So, but I have yet to win the grand prize. That hasn't happened yet. So,
that's pretty cool, though. I mean,
yeah,
gosh,
yeah.
yeah,
So that's my next goal. Win the grand prize.
cool.
Yeah.
How many songs have you written?
I don't really know. I haven't added them all up.
Would you say a few hundred?
For sure, a few hundred.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if I'm in the thousands yet, but I might be.
Wow.
Maybe close to 1,000. I'm not sure.
How
I
long
really
have you
need
been
to add it
writing?
up. Well, I started writing kind of late in life. I was a jazz singer, So I was singing the Great American Songbook and blues and bossa novas and all kinds of different, jazz and jazz-oriented music. And I also was in a gospel choir. So I had a lot of experience improvising and also singing, the canon. But I didn't write my first song until after ovarian cancer in 2003. So, but I'm coming up on writing songs for 20 years. I still feel like I'm a beginner, but but you just keep it something long enough, and I guess suddenly 20 years goes by.
Yeah,
So,
that's very true. When did we meet? When did you come to Cal State?
I think it was 2010,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
I had actually met you. I'm thinking somewhere in the early 2000s. There was a conference that no longer happens. It was something jazz educators or something like that. And it was,
IAJE. Yeah.
yes, and it was in New York.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
went to that one year just as a participant.
Yeah.
And I remember going to a panel where you and a bunch of other people were presenting. And I remember thinking, she's really cool. And then we got to be friends years later. Um, yeah, so.
That does happen still, but it's under the title JEN, JEN, Jazz Educators Network.
Oh, okay.
Because what happened probably, I want to say 8 to 10 years ago, was that the executive ran off with the money.
Oh no. Of the IAJE, that's what happened to it? Oh, I didn't realize. I knew it had
Yes.
closed, and I just, chalked it up to, whatever. I think it was around 2008 or something, so I figured, oh, it's the economy. I
Yeah,
had no
yeah,
idea that it was an embezzlement thing.
yeah. And very quickly after
I mean,
that,
how much money could there even be? It's like,
well, there were thousands and thousands of people who were paying into it,
yeah, okay.
you know. I mean, I think it was attended at least by 7,000 people.
Right, right, right. Yeah.
But I don't even know if they caught him or whatever, but
Oh, wow.
there was a woman
He
who
left the
was,
country.
I don't know, there was
Uh-huh.
a woman who
Interesting.
was kind of higher up, and she really quickly turned it around to Jen. And I think I've only been to one just because it happens in January and everything seems to happen in January.
Mm.
Um, there's a really nice jazz conference that happens in New York. And I really like it, and I would be going back if it wasn't, for COVID.
Yeah. I know it's so interesting because on the one hand things are back and on the other hand things are not back.
Yeah,
You know. Um,
yeah,
I've
it's true.
started doing more live performing, but I'm still doing a lot of stuff, pre-recorded on video or Zoom.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah,
and I like the aspect of not having to get into my car and go anywhere, but interacting with a live audience, the energy it's worth sitting in traffic and schlepping gear and all that just to have that,
yeah,
the
it's much
feeling
better.
of
Yeah,
other people in the room. Plus, I love, love, love. But I think because of my gospel background experience, I love sing along aspects, like a lot of my songs, like the one you just played,
yeah.
that, that bridge part. Every heart beats to the rhythm. I get the whole audience always. If I have an audience, I get them singing that in harmonies too.
Oh,
And every heart beats to the rhythm, every heart beats to the rhythm. Anyway, so at least two parts, usually three, and yeah, you can't do that on Zoom, and everybody's on mute, so maybe they're singing along, but we'll never know, right? It's not the same as hearing it coming back,
yeah, yeah.
So anyway, but what can we do? You know?
Not much.
Yes, exactly.
What changed for you when COVID hit?
Uh, well, travel went out the window for quite a while. I've just started traveling again. So I go to the Hawaii Songwriting Festival every year.
Oh,
This year was our first year back, uh, and aspects of that had changed. This was the first year back for the Positive Music Festival. So like all of that was all online, moved online.
yeah,
The Peace Song Awards, all the usual conferences. None of that was happening.
yeah, yeah. Um, I'm curious. I know a few people who have changed out of working in jazz into
Mm.
songwriting, and it seems like a very different world. Is it a different world?
Well, yeah, I think so. At least for me. I mean, what happened for me was uh, I didn't know I could write songs. I mean, I was a singer, and what I thought I could do was sing songs that were already written. And early on, like, I don't know, maybe when I was a preteen or teenager, I became aware of the fact that like Carole King was writing songs and Joni Mitchell was writing songs, and so I sort of expressed interest to a family member, and was told, oh, you're too young, you don't have anything to say, who are you to write songs? And it's like you got to be really careful what you say to kids. So I just took this to heart and just thought that, songwriting was for other people, and kind of just let that go and just concentrated on singing. And it was always something I wanted to do. I just convinced myself that one had to be an amazing instrumentalist and you had to know, all this stuff. And I somehow had the idea that writing songs was literally like film scoring, where you were, writing out all of the parts and the notes onto,
Yeah,
big score paper. And I
yeah,
didn't have that skill set. I could sing,
yeah.
but that was anyway. Fast forward to 2003, and an ovarian cancer diagnosis. I decided that I was gonna, take this long list of courses, and I was talking with one of my friends, who's a great jazz pianist and also gospel, like Hammond B3 player up in the Bay Area. His name's Ben Heverow. Um, and he was like, so Patricia, what are you going to do now that you've had this big wake up call, the whole cancer thing? And I had gone through surgery and I was going through chemo, and, it was really, really tough. And so I told him all these, well, I'm going to take music theory, I'm going to take piano lessons, I'm going to take music engineering, and on and on. And he's like, okay, why? And I was like, because I want to write songs. Like I could barely even say it, like admit out loud that that's what I wanted to do. And because I just somehow had this idea that it wasn't something I could do.
Yeah.
And he changed my life that afternoon. It has no recollection of this either. But he said, Patricia, you have a voice, you have something to say. You can just start writing songs now. You can take all those classes, but you don't have to wait until all of that. And if you want to just come over to my house and sing your song a cappella, I'll just play chords on the keyboard until we figure out what chord you're hearing in your head. And so that's how I started out. Is I would just go over to Ben's and I would sing a cappella, and he would noodle around until, he'd like play, a 5 chord, and I'd be like, no, it's not that one. And he'd, play a flat 7. I'd be like, oh yeah, but I didn't know what any of them were.
Yeah.
I would be hearing something in my head. And then after that, actually, when I got to know you is when I had already started on the journey of taking a lot of classes. And I had basically gone back in the community college program at Laney, which is in Oakland. And then when I moved to LA, I continued at Santa Monica College. And so I had gone through all of like the undergrad level music theory, and I learned how to play the guitar, and I took piano lessons. Like I did all the things, the list that I
Yeah.
had given him. Actually did all that, and it ended up studying at Cal State LA and getting my master's in music in vocal performance. So, and since then, I've been fortunate enough to have songs that I've written be on every major network, be licensed to, countless TV shows, some feature films, some advertising, and then I'm also performing as, as an artist myself. So I'm loving it.
Wow, it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. So
Yeah.
for a writer to get all the connections for TV and movies and stuff, is that all on you, or do you have somebody working for you to help you do that?
It's a little bit of both.
Hmm.
So, I've been working with a number of different licensing agencies. So these are people that represent the songs
Yeah.
to to various different venues where they can be licensed. But I also have taken it on myself to get to know music supervisors by going to various conferences where they are
Mhm.
and pitching them directly, and
Yeah.
then referring them to the agencies. So it's kind of like
Oh,
we're coming at it from both angles,
yeah, yeah,
and that seems to work pretty well.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
So to answer your question though about is it different? Yeah, it's totally different.
yeah,
Because for me, when I started writing songs, I didn't have the skill set to write like really complicated jazz chord progressions, and that isn't what I was hearing in my head anyway. So
yeah,
what came out was much more pop
yeah.
and pop and folk pop, just and some gospel too. The some of the early songs, and I still love gospel music, and I'm still very influenced by jazz. I think you can hear it in a lot of my compositions. Um, but I wouldn't necessarily call them jazz, you know.
Yeah.
So for me, it's really been different because like all of the contacts that I did have in the jazz world from being a jazz performer for, um, I guess that was almost 20 years too, um, or maybe 10, I don't know. I'm terrible with math. One of the reasons why I didn't go to medical school. Um, uh, yeah, in my family, you could be a doctor, lawyer, or a teacher, and my math skills were such that I went the lawyer direction. But anyway, yeah, the songs just didn't come out as jazz songs, and so I had to kind of. It's a whole different world, the the clubs even, the venues, like they're all different. The publications, the people that are reviewing it, the radio stations, like none of it's the same. So you can't really leverage, I mean, not that I had a billion um, contacts anyway, but it was just, it was like starting definitely from scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Um, I have a friend, Catherine Bostick, um, she's a film scorer, and
Yeah, I feel like
and
I recognize her name, but I don't know
yeah,
from
you
where.
may because she does a lot of great documentaries, like Amy Tan.
Is she here
And
in LA?
yeah, she is.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe you've bumped into her at one of the
Yeah,
meetings.
because I have gone to composer,
Oh yeah,
events.
she's
Yeah.
won awards. She's a
Yeah,
tall
okay.
black woman, kind of long hair, and she writes great stuff, and she plays piano and sings, and she's really cool. Actually, my friend Dan and I produced her record, and although it's not exactly a record yet, but it's It's not, I mean, it's almost film composer Americana. That's what
Oh,
that's what we
wow. Oh, that
we
sounds
decided.
awesome. Can't
Yeah,
wait to hear it.
pretty cool, pretty wonderful. And but she was a she was a jazz singer and pianist first. She traveled around a lot, and so yeah, um,
Well, I
I,
will
I forget why
definitely.
exactly. Oh, and we have actually a few people here online. You don't know any of them, but I do. Dan
Well, now I
DeVilla.
do. Now I do.
Yeah, Dan
Right?
DeVilla and no, Dan, I can't see the credits, her credits. If you posted that, I can't see that on YouTube. Toby Simmons, hello. She says, nice to meet you. Joyce Glasgow. No, I'm not on Facebook. I'm just going to make a little note here. Uh, I'll say, ladies and gentlemen, Facebook is not working today for, for me. So here I
Unbelievable.
am
Yeah.
on YouTube only. I hope I can fix that tomorrow later. But anyway, at least we are live on YouTube.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So yeah, so let's see. There's I'm gonna show your website.
Okay.
Um, let's see. Here it is. This is your website. This is your videos on your website. Is this your website? No.
Yeah. No. Try home. Yeah, there you go.
Here you are. And I'm just, since we were talking about TV and film credits, holy moly. Damn, girl.
Yeah. I actually there's probably some more I need to add to that too. But
Very,
anyway.
very impressive. Wow. Ad placement for Google. That's an interesting one. Oh, look at all of this.
So there's a lot more, but Oh, yeah, and this is fun. The show posters.
So, but this is what
These
your
are
music
all
is on.
Yeah, these are all different TV shows where music that I've written has been licensed.
Cool. Is it music? Is it instrumental or is it with
No,
actually?
these are all songs. Sometimes they'll use the instrumental of the song and then fade in a vocal part, a little piece of it. Sometimes they'll play it, as is. One of the things that music editors really like to be able to do is ha- have what's called the stems.
Yes.
So when you make a recording, obviously you want to always have an instrumental and an a cappella so they can kind of weave those in and out. But if you give them stems, then they can really, you know, bring it down to where it's just the percussion and the kick drum or something, and
Yeah.
then build it back up to whatever it is that works for the scene. So that's something that I always advise people who are interested in getting into sync is, don't just leave the studio with
Yeah.
your master track.
Yeah.
Make sure you're getting, at
Sounds.
least an instrumental and a cappella vocal. And, if you have to pay a little extra to get the stems, it's worth it because
Yeah.
it's really hard to go back and people change their computers all the time and they put your project on a different backup drive and then that backup drive fails and then a year later when you want to get the stems you can't get them, but if it's right there when the project file is open, they're already in Logic or Pro Tools or whatever the program is,
Yeah.
and it's another 30 minutes to bounce all the stems out. I say
Yeah.
do it
Yeah.
then.
I remember hearing this one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, this one
Yeah,
is
I haven't actually released this song and I need to. I was going to release it around the time that Hillary was running, and I don't know, it just didn't end up coming together. So it's just available right now on my website, but I should release it.
I'm going to just play a little of it.
Okay, yeah.
We're in a battle for our lives between the shadows and the light. Shadows and the light. We won't go quiet in the night. We won't sit down. We won't be silenced. Silenced. 'Cause no matter how hard we may fall, together we rise, rise up. They can knock us to the ground. We won't stay down. Together we rise, rise up. We're the seeds of change, pushing through the pain. We're gonna rise. Our battered hearts are wide awake, out of the dark, so much at stake. We won't wait. Our hands may tremble, our voices shake. Standing together, we'll never break. We won't break. 'Cause no matter how hard we may fall, together we rise, rise up. They can knock us to the ground. We won't stay down. Together we rise, rise up. We're the seeds of change, pushing through the pain. We're gonna rise. We won't bow our heads. We know we won't be tamed. The time has come to tear off our chains. Can't divide and conquer us. No, we won't surrender. Only growing stronger every time we fall. Together we rise, rise up. Speaking truth with the power. We're only growing louder. We're gonna rise, rise up. Hear that cry. We won't be denied. Together we rise, rise up. Knock us to the ground. We won't stay down. Rise up. We're the seeds of change, pushing through the pain. We're gonna rise,
Wow, I can see why, like how a movie kind of a thing would, a movie music supervisor would be interested. I can see why.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, because it lifts in excitement and positive feeling, and it starts kind of contemplative, like and that's perfect, right? Perfect for some movies and TV shows.
Yeah, I need to get it in a movie. You're right. Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you so much for playing that. As a writer, sometimes, once I've written something and recorded it, I'm kind of like on to the next thing, and sometimes I forget. about like the catalog of music. And I'd kind of forgotten about that one for a little while. So thank you for playing that. I'm like, yeah, that's really good, actually. I like that. I like that song.
It's very positive. And
I
I
think
especially
so.
loved the line, something about falling down. We may get hit down. What is it? We may get hit down and
Let me
fall hard
see.
or something.
Let me I should have the lyrics on the
Something like we
website,
may get
but
hit and fall down hard, but we get up again.
so the pre-chorus is no matter how hard we fall, we're gonna rise. Let's see. Let me find it. Uh, rise. Together we rise. So this was actually inspired at the beginning by Elizabeth Warren.
Hmm.
Remember when she was trying to read into the congressional record um, some material from Martin Luther King's family? Is this was back
No.
in, I don't know, 2017 maybe, or maybe no, actually it would have been 2016, and she was censured for staying on the House floor and continuing to speak. And they said, well, we warned her to stop, but nevertheless, she persisted, and that became like the battle cry. You know, nevertheless, she persisted, and so we won't sit down, we won't be silenced, no matter how hard we may fall. Together we rise. They can
Just
knock us to
that,
the
just
ground, we
yeah.
won't stay down.
And but the line right before that line before that, no matter how hard we fall, and
Mm-hmm.
then together we rise. That
Yes.
line actually totally caught me, you know,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
because
yeah.
I mean, you know, you can really apply that to a lot of things, right? A
Yes,
lot of
yes, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, and I forget who said it. It might have been Martin Luther King, but something about uh, fall down seven, get up eight. Like no matter how many times you fall down, it's not over unless you don't get back up,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? So, yeah, well, thank you so much for playing that. I really kind of, yeah, I forgot how good that is.
So I have another question, being a
Yeah.
singer, you know. So, um, obviously it's much different than jazz singing. And like all of us jazz singers, I mean, we sang other stuff too. We always did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there was a lot of music happening. So, has that been a journey for you? I can imagine it would be, kind of changing, not changing styles, kind of changing styles, but singing, getting your voice so that it works in a particular genre. And sometimes there's, particular problems that come up in one genre and not in another.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one of the things that's really interesting is the whole issue of vibrato, because I feel like it comes in and out of style in pop music. It's actually back in style now. But
Oh, really?
when I first started writing, it was definitely not in style. Like it was, so I had to learn how to sing straight tone, which as a jazz singer I kind of knew, but after being with a gospel choir for as long as I was, to me, emotion meant that's when my vibrato would kick in. Like if I really meant something, then it was going to happen. And so trying to like learn how to sing emotionally, but not necessarily always having it with vibrato. Yeah, that took me a while. I had to really work on that. But I feel like ever since Billie Eilish, or maybe even before her, because she has kind of a jazz approach, although she undersings a lot. but she had definitely has vibrato. And I feel like she's, sort of helped bring it back in style a little bit. And Beyonce has tons, you know. So there's a lot of popular singers now. Ryan Tedder, who is one of my absolute songwriting, um, I idolize him. I just think he's so terrific because he's a great frontman and lead singer in his band. Um, but then he's also writing for so many other artists. And he sings with a fair amount of vibrato as well. And so I'm like, oh, good, it's back in style. I don't have to rein it in as much. Um, so it's cool. It's I feel like that was a big challenge, particularly at the beginning. And then the other thing that I think is different is I don't know actually, maybe it's not that different. But in jazz, the idea is usually the first time through you want to state the melody kind of true to the song and then start improvising. I think in a lot of pop music, uh, the improvising is more of ad libs over the top of the melody stated as it is. So that's also a difference. Because as a writer, I'm constantly thinking of new melodies. And that's why I really love working with a co-writer because I'll come up with, you know, at least three, usually way more, options of ways that we could state the melody. And, and I love having a co-writer help me decide, like, which one is the hookiest, and then hold me to it. Like, I'll start going off on it on another melody and they'll be like, no, wait, remember that melody? I come back. So that's also something that's really different. Because in pop, I think once you decide what the melody is, um, it's actually not cool to deviate from it, except maybe on the last chorus kind of a thing. Second verse, you can deviate a little bit from the first verse, but it can't be as loose usually as with jazz, where
Yeah.
there's, yeah, so that's the other difference, I think. And I'm sure there's anyone could point me to numerous exceptions to what I just said. But that's kind of a generality, I guess.
Cool. Well, I also have a friend on here, Taylor Hatch, who's a guitarist.
Oh, cool. Hi,
And
Taylor.
he's he would like to know how you would define artist integrity for yourself and your art form. That's just one of Taylor Hatch's questions.
Okay.
Go for it.
Well,
How would you define artistic integrity for yourself and your art form?
right. So, I try never to write anything that I don't believe in. So, the wonderful thing about writing for film and TV is it does allow me to express many aspects of my personality, my beliefs, etc., um, that maybe don't fit with my artist persona, if that makes sense. So, for example, I'm kind of known for um a particular sound, and it's a sound that's genuine to me. I'm kind of in the lane of um, Colbie Caillat, Ingrid Michaelson, maybe a little Jason Mraz. So, like, sort of a jazz influenced pop, but definitely in the, indie pop area. But I love, 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 love writing rock stuff. Like sort of swaggery rock that's like super um, confident. And those songs, I don't really feel like I can deliver them in a way that's as believable as when I work with people that's their genre. So I love partnering with other artists and writing stuff that I believe in, Some of it's very aspirational, like the confidence part. I'm, you know, I'm aspiring to be as confident as these lyrics that I'm writing. Um, but they're definitely genuine. Uh, I wouldn't write anything that I like. I'm not the kind of person that's gonna write, you know, in the club kind of a, like that's not my, it's not what I want to do, and I don't really have that experience. And so, I'm not going to write those songs necessarily, um, but I also don't want to be limited. Like, I don't want anybody to tell me, well, just because you're, a woman, you can't write a swagger rock song. Like, yes, I can. Maybe I'm not going to be the lead singer on it, or, but I still want to be able to write it. And yeah, so.
What's cool about it, I just came back from a workshop in France on, it was a creative workshop, but it was a lot about songwriting because the man who was running it is a guy named Vinx, who's a really successful songwriter.
Hmm.
And
How do you spell that name?
Vinx.
Vinx.
He's written
Okay.
with people like Brenda Russell and, stuff, people like that. And he's performed with Sting and a lot of people. He is a singer and a percussionist, and he's older. He's younger than me, but he's close to my age, and he's just for years and years and years. So anyway, a lot of there was 13 students, and a lot of it had to do with songwriting. And like one exercise, he see, did he choose the people? Yeah, he chose two or three people, as a group,
Mm-hmm.
and then sorry, I'm still on jet lag, so I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember
I got
everything.
you.
But and then yeah, we had to pick, paper out of a hat, and so we picked two genres to combine.
Oh,
Our genre,
cool.
our genre was well, first of all, my partners. One is this amazing girl whose last name I can't remember. Cassie May. That's what she's known as. Great songwriter, singer, piano player, really, really talented, and 20 years old, and she's been doing it for years. And she's also blind, but that's not really part of the artistic thing.
Yeah, all
And
right.
then the other woman, Purple, that's what her name was, Purple.
Really? Her
She,
name is
yeah,
Purple. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
and she's really, her genre is rap, but real positive rap. And she's
Oh,
worked a
wow.
lot in that area. She's taught, and so that was our group. And then the genres were classical and reggae.
Mm,
And then we had picked like two words that had to be kind of in the writing, right?
right,
And
right.
so what was so cool about it for me, usually, I mean, it's over the years it's been a little different as far as collaborating with people, but usually I'll write lyrics to somebody's music that exists already,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah.
And so if I'm collaborating, right?
Mm-hmm. So your
And
your experience is mostly as a lyricist then.
in collaboration,
Yeah, right,
yeah,
right.
yeah. Of course, for my own stuff, I write the music and lyrics. And so one thing I got out of that was how easy and fast it was. And we were all just, yeah, oh, how about this? Or well, it doesn't quite get it. How about this? And so that was good. But what was really fantastic was that the lesson was it doesn't matter what I'm writing or who I'm writing with, it's still me who's writing.
Uh-huh.
And as long as I don't shut the door, it's me coming out, and I can do any genre or any
Mm-hmm.
with any person. So that was a wonderful lesson, for me personally. And we had so much fun. I think our song was one of the best songs that came out, actually. It
That's
really
great.
came out wonderful. We
So what do you remember the title of the song?
no, I did tape it. I mean, I'd have to go back and listen to the tape, but yeah, no, I don't remember the title of the song. But it was great.
Well, actually, that reminds me of an experience that I've had several times here in LA. I've been on this live songwriting game show
Oh,
called Top Tune, and the last time I did it, I was paired. Let me see if I can actually find. I think I might even have this on my YouTube channel, and it would be cool to play it because it hasn't been professionally released yet. So I know we won't get any takedown issues. 'Cause, um, so let's see here. YouTube. Um, so the way Top Tune works is they invite 6 songwriter artists from somewhere around LA usually, and they put you in teams of 2 randomly drawn out of a hat, and then they draw out a title, and then they give you 17 minutes to
wow.
go backstage and write it, and then you come back and perform it with the house band. And the house band is hearing the song for the first time as they are playing it down. And it's pretty amazing. It's a huge adrenaline rush for sure. And why am I seeing an ad on my page? I don't know. Somebody is putting an ad for NFTs on my YouTube page. Okay. So if you look at live show videos, is that where it is? Or is it just not, did I not put it on my page? Let's see, view full playlist. Oh no, okay, so go to Patricia Bahia live videos,
Yeah.
and if you click on it to see the full playlist, you'll see the third one down is Marky Lennon and Patricia Bahia running the red lights.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were given a title, Running the Red Lights. And as we were walking off the stage, I said to Marky, it's got to be Running the Red Lights to Get to You. And he's like, oh yeah. And so by the time we got backstage, we were already like, ideating on what the song was going to be. And I think it turned out pretty awesome. So this is our first time playing it through, and the band had never heard it before because we had just written it in 17 minutes.
Ooh, Policero was there. I know him.
Yeah, oh, he was great. He added a saxophone solo to it, but I don't think on this version of I don't think they recorded the whole thing. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know which one this is, but Top Tune placed this video on here. There he is, Polly.
He's a talented mofo.
Oh yeah.
That's fun.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Now I have a
Um,
question from Taylor that kind of lies right in there.
okay, cool.
Um, as a songwriter, what outside of music helps draw you in to write? What speaks to you?
Well, I love being outside. That's my thing. So I try and hike a lot. Um, and I have moved close to the Verdugo Mountains out here in Burbank, so I can literally get to hiking trails in like 5 minutes. I can even walk to them, but I can drive to them in 5 minutes, and that's yeah, it's been great. Really nice. If the summers are too hot, you have to get out on the trail at like 6:30 in the morning, which is not something I really do. So, but right now, this time of year, it's perfect. Yeah,
You
I love
know, another thing that Vinx was really stressing was like he took us out around, we were in southern France and it was really
it.
quite beautiful. We went into towns, we had a wine tasting,
Oh,
various things.
nice.
And he was really stressing like look at things and looked for the backstory, like
Mm-hmm.
you know, just was like, here's a cup. Who made this cup? Who thought of this cup? Who made it? And why did they? Were they sitting around at home and were they thinking, I need a cup that he keeps the coffee warm? I mean, and why were they thinking that? Were they pissed off at their husband or yeah, so and that was a very cool kind of extra thing too. In fact, when I went to Paris the following week, I really was like observing things in a different way,
Mm-hmm.
and actually did some writing uh, kind of along those lines. Like, what's the backstory? Do you
Right.
have a process which you do?
Yeah, interesting. I've also heard that one of the things that pre-COVID, I guess we're back to it now. We're in airports again, is getting to the airport early and just watching the people,
Yeah,
like, and the goodbyes and the hellos, and trying to make up your own backstory as to what's going on there.
yeah. Do you have a
Yeah.
process that you use?
Well, I would say I'm a kind of a collector of ideas, and any source is fair game. So, uh, I can't remember who said this, but some famous songwriter wrote a huge hit song based on something that he saw at his ATM machine. It was Bank of America or one of the other ones had some sort of phrase about, I don't know what it was, something like live your best life or something like that. And he was like, interesting, and kind of tucked that away. I was sitting at the kitchen table with my parents when I was visiting in September and saw something on a cereal box, and immediately like got on my phone and started riffing on this idea just vocally, and my dad was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm writing a song. He goes, well, hasn't the company already written that song? And I'm like, no, because I'm writing it right now. He's like totally unclear on, what, like, I guess somehow he thought if the words were written down somewhere that, you
Here's a
couldn't
song.
use them.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
And I was like, no, 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 actually, this is totally fair game, And not only that, I was rephrasing it slightly, but it sparked me. Um, and so I keep this with me at all times, the phone. And Um, I have voice memos,
Yes.
thousands of them, thousands and
Yes.
thousands and thousands of voice memos. And then I also keep the little memo thing, on an iPhone.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like this sort of yellow spiral, yellow lined, is it a little
Notes.
notes? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I put song concepts, lines, title ideas,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
And really, anything is a possible
Yeah.
um, spark of an idea. Sometimes it's, watching the news or commercials or, reality TV or, anything. It
It's
just really,
everywhere.
yeah, yeah. I mean, as a songwriter, you want to keep your channels open and your antenna open and try and just, be open to ideas. And then I can get inspired too by conversations with co-writers. Sometimes, we'll get in a room and maybe we don't have an idea of what we're going to be doing that day, but we'll get an idea
And
just
some
by
people just
chatting.
like this, like Vince, when he was talking in our classes, I was writing so many of his sentences down. He just talks like that. It's like great sentence, great sentence, great sentence, you know. So yeah, it's now I want to play my song because and I don't even know if you'll be able to hear it, but
Okay. Oh, this is
that
the one that you wrote
classical
at the
reggae,
Vinks camp?
yeah, like
Okay.
I'm curious because I haven't listened to it, but I don't even know if you can hear it. But let's
Okay.
see. Can you hear this song? Can you hear that? I really don't know what to say, but I know I feel your love.
It's not easy to define your image in my mind. Never it's ever the same. No way they call you divine,
They call you divine,
but no need for names.
but no need for names.
No language, no words, no desire.
No desire.
We give thanks. You give thanks. We give thanks again and again and again.
Anyway, so
I
they
love it.
they had a little more feel, connection with reggae than I did. And but we came up with the lines, the words, and
Yeah.
then Purple actually rapped in it too, which was great.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it
That's
was.
amazing. That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah, collaboration is just so wonderful. I love it.
yeah.
I can write on my own, and I have, and I do, but I love collaborating. Yeah, I just feel like there's just so much more than, if you have two or three people in a room or in a Zoom room even, what comes out of that is going to be so much more than if the three individuals had worked on their own, separately. It's like an exponential factor, you know? Yeah.
Exponential. I love that
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
I have a few. Oh, my friend Dan Davila is mentioning that Mark Lennon is a son to one of the Lennon sisters,
Yes. Oh, actually, cousin.
a cousin to one of the Lennon
No, to
sisters.
all the Lennon sisters. They're his cousins.
Oh, his cousin. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Here you go, Dan. A little
Yeah.
difference, but he has a group called Venice.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And they do really, really well in Europe. And they were on tour this fall. I think it was like their first European tour post-COVID, and very, very well received. Marky was telling me that they've been going to Holland in particular, but other places in Europe for something like 30 years. And so what's happening now, and this is so cool, there are people who are going to his shows who brought their children when their children were young. Now the children are bringing their children. So it's like three generations
Oh,
of fans.
my God.
And they played, Venice music at their weddings, at their, at their like, they become part of their families. So cool.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So I was actually trying to get Marky to include this song in the new Venice album that they're recording, but I forget how many of the people, how many there are in the Venice band, but let's just say there's five,
Yeah.
and they're all songwriters.
Uh-huh.
So they already had like, I don't know, 40 songs, and they were trying to whittle it down to 10. And so he said he didn't, he wasn't sure that that could happen. So darn. But we actually went into the studio and recorded with a friend of Marky's. I'm just having a tiny brain blip at the moment. I know his name is John, but what is his last name? He so generously gave us his studio time, and we just had a blast. We recorded that right before I left town and Marky left town. So it was like early September or late August, and then we need to get back together and do the final mix. But we actually did two versions of it, and I'm so sorry, John, if you're watching this. Why I'm not remembering your last name. I'm just looking in my phone to see, but I have way too many Johns in here. And oh, wait, maybe this is it. Yes, John Pratt. Do you know him?
That
He is
sounds familiar.
he's an amazing songwriter and singer and producer with tons of TV and film credits as well, and a beautiful home studio. Like, trying to think if. Oh, I guess we haven't released the video. So we recorded a making of video when we were at his house in his home studio, which is really beautiful. And I guess that still needs editing to be released, but it was me and Marky. And so I did a version with me on lead. And we're both singing in the same key, so it was great. We could leave all the instruments and everything the same. And then one with Marky singing lead and me singing backgrounds for him, and then on my lead he's singing backgrounds on mine. So I think we're gonna release that song,
Cool.
"Running the Red Lights." Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Um, Taylor wants to know, do you believe in writer's block?
No, I don't. Um, I think there's times where you're more or less inspired,
Yeah.
but there's always something you can do to get the wheels turning. Maybe there's a song that you started, so you can work on finishing that, or you can work on a recording of something that you've already written, or, there's just so many things to be done in and around songwriting to kind of trick yourself to get back into the groove. But the best way for me is just book a writing session. Just book it, and then you show up, and magic happens. I mean, I just can't describe it any other way, you know. Um, and even if you're not on 100% top of your game, that there's something about the interaction between, you and another songwriter and the synergies that happen there. Something will happen. It doesn't have to be your best song that day, but it'll just be what gets you back.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Also, I remember, well, for you it's different now, but you might have gone through this in the beginning, but I remember for me, like you mentioned, yeah, when you first started writing and you weren't writing deep jazz songs, right?
Hmm.
So in the songs that I've written, um, there were the real jazz songs that I would consider very jazzy. And then like there was a period where I was writing kind of folk stuff, and I kept thinking, oh, I gotta write some. This isn't good. This is so simple, and I can't do this. And then a year later, I realized I wasn't writing, and so
So you inadvertently turned the muse off because
yeah,
you didn't think what the muse was giving you was correct.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah, Tom Waits talks about this. He talks about songs actually as being beings in a way that sort of already exist.
hmm,
And they're kind of floating around looking for a songwriter to land on, somebody who will bring them out into the world.
yeah,
And this is long before there were iPhones and portable recorders and stuff. He would be stuck in LA traffic with like no paper, pen, nothing, and a song would come. And he'd be like, "Are you kidding me? You're coming now? Like, I don't have any way of writing you down or doing anything for you, you know, go see," and then fill in the blank. Somebody else, I don't remember who he said in this, because I remember him saying this in an interview, but let's just say it was Bob Dylan. Go see Bob Dylan, or whatever. Um, so those songs were coming through, and when you shut them off, they probably just went somewhere else.
well, Elizabeth Gilbert talks about that
Yes, she does.
in
Oh, I
her
love
book,
her. Big
Being,
Magic.
yeah, Big Magic. Remember
Yeah.
that part? She's
Yes.
talking specifically about that and how she she tried to get a book together for a long time, but she had been going through personal issues. Then she met another writer at a convention. They went to have coffee, and it turned out that this woman had gotten the story from the muse, and she was writing the story,
Yeah.
same story. So yeah, it's like,
And
and
it was a
another thing,
really, really particular story. Like it was,
very,
there's no
yeah,
way that that was a coincidence.
right, exactly. It was a
Yeah.
very particular story. The other thing that I really liked, what she said that remained with me, was um, she made a commitment when she started writing that she was going to write every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so when she would have a bad day, well, what she realized was that she would start a project, very interested, and then into it a few days, she'd get kind of disgusted and really, and could have stopped, but she had to write the next day because that was her commitment, and it worked great. So she realizes that every time she starts a project, that happens,
Yes.
which I think is super valuable, you know?
Mm-hmm. You know who else talks about that is Pressman is the last name. The War of Art, is the Art of War. Let me see. I think I have it
I
on
think
my
it's the
bookshelf right
art
here.
of war.
Hold on. Here it is. The War of Art.
Oh,
Um, Stephen Pressfield, sorry. Here's the book right here.
yeah.
Can you
Oh,
see it?
nice. Taylor, you ought to like that one. The War of Art.
Yeah, break through the blocks and win your inner creative battles. So he talks a lot about resistance.
Yeah.
Um, and basically, resistance is um, what happens anytime you're trying to do anything positive. So you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to work out more, you're trying to write a book, you're trying to write a song. Um, and let me see if I can. Okay, let's see. Resistance. Uh, oh, procrastination. I mean, he talks about it all. Procrastination. Procrastination is the most common manifestation of resistance because it's the easiest to rationalize. We don't tell ourselves, I'm never going to write my symphony. Instead, we say, I'm going to write my symphony. I'm just going to start on it tomorrow. Um, so resistance is self-sabotage. Let me just see. But I want to see if he has the resistance definition. Okay. All right. Oh, this is so good. Can I read this?
Sure.
Okay. The following is a list, in no particular order, of those activities that most commonly elicit resistance. The pursuit of any calling in writing, painting, music, film, dance, or any creative art, however marginal or unconventional. The launching of any entrepreneurial venture or enterprise, for profit or otherwise. Any diet or health regimen. Any program of spiritual advancement. Any activity whose aim is tighter abdominals. Any course or program designed to overcome an unwholesome habit or addiction. Education of every kind. Any act of political, moral, or ethical courage, including the decision to change for the better some unworthy pattern of thought or conduct. There's 3 more. The undertaking of any enterprise or endeavor whose aim is to help others. Any act that entails commitment of the heart, the decision to get married, to have a child, to weather a rocky patch in a relationship. And finally, the taking of any principled stand in the face of adversity. In other words, any act that rejects immediate gratification in favor of long-term growth, health, or integrity. Or expressed another way, any act that derives from our higher nature instead of our lower. Any of these will elicit resistance.
There you go.
There you have it. So, a vital gem and a kick in the ass, says Esquire magazine, and I agree. It's really, really good. And it's short. It's a short read. It's under 200 pages. It's like 160 something pages long. And, you know,
Taylor,
gold. It's
Taylor,
pure
that's
gold.
he said it's his favorite book. It changed his life. And he said the biggest quote that hit me is, resistance is the most toxic force in the planet. It is the root of more unhappiness than poverty, disease, and erectile dysfunction.
He's so funny, right? Oh, so good. Yeah, and I feel like I have another book by him too. Is he the same guy who wrote Do the Work? Let me see. Yes. Yes.
Do the work. That's it sounds like the same subject.
It is. It's much shorter, and this one is, it's under 100 pages, and it's basically more on the same, but it's a little bit more step by step, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
interesting.
yeah.
Well, you know, see this book? Okay, I mean, this is kind of along the same lines as what we're talking about. So, this book is a book I put together
Oh, wow.
over the pandemic. And this, and I don't feel bad about this because I've heard writers say this, like writers that I admire. This was a result of 15 years of observing and a lot in teaching. I would teach somebody something, and the idea and application of it would relate to other areas in their life. You know, like a technique thing would relate to living or singing jazz, you know. So I took those 3 things and I kind of basically focused all of that into this little book. And it was great to do that, to focus and edit and really make a focused, you know, a focused manifestation of all that. And it was great to finish it because I'm the kind of person who's really good at starting and continuing, but stopping is not one of my, you know, like that's a cycle of action, right? You
Uh-huh.
start, you continue, and then you stop. But stopping is not my best area.
Right.
Starting is great and continuing is good, but anyway,
Yeah.
so this was
Well,
really cool to do, and I want to do more, but there are other, of course, there are other things that we're
yeah,
working on all the time.
of course.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to offer just a tiny bit of unsolicited advice about the way to look at finishing as opposed
Okay.
to stopping. Because stopping to me carries a negative charge.
Mm.
It's like quitting.
Yeah.
Finishing, on the other hand, is very positive.
Yeah.
Completing. So
Right.
maybe even just by casting it, like, because completing something is very satisfying.
Yeah.
Stopping something is kind of like yucky.
Yeah, it's stopping the actual motion.
Right. So
Yeah.
completing is just if you just maybe, I mean that might help. I don't know. Just it just popped into my head, so I had to say
Thank
it.
you. I like that. I thank you for saying that. I'm going to stop saying, stop.
Right, right, right. Yeah, because I actually I derive an incredible amount of satisfaction out of finishing things. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of known as a finisher.
Oh,
Um, it's one of the things that a lot of my co-writers really appreciate about me. If I think something is worth finishing, I will finish it.
yeah.
And I will corral my people
Yeah.
and get them to finish it.
Yeah.
So that I think of it as a very, very positive thing.
Yeah.
But stopping
Okay.
something has definitely much more of a negative connotation to me. So if that's the same for you, maybe you're inadvertently blocking yourself from finishing things just because of semantics.
I'm going to look at that.
Yeah, I mean,
I am going to look at that.
if it works,
Too.
great. Um, so
Um,
cool. So what
Taylor's,
else?
well, Taylor said, sometimes Taylor's questions are perfect for the subject, and they're always good, but just depends. But he said resistance hits me hard when it comes to writing the perfect compositions in my head. It's
Uh-huh.
also relative to me having Asperger's that routines are significant to me, but time management isn't.
Mm.
And he also said you have to read Pressfield's newest book, Get Off Your Ass.
Oh my gosh, yes, I'm sure I would love it.
And it looks like, I'm not sure if he meant to do it, but it looks like the S's are dollar signs. I'm not sure if
Uh-huh. I might even have that book. I tend to get everything that Pressfield has ever done. Um, I just, I have a lot of different sort of, I'm looking up on my shelf. Um, yeah, I'm not seeing it, but I have a lot of books that are in the garage right now, still in boxes from when we moved in 2019. Um,
wow.
but you know what? Here's the thing is I love having a house that's like clutter free and clean surfaces and stuff. And that was really hard to do in a one bedroom apartment, but in a house with a garage, as long as you don't park the cars in the garage,
That's true.
clutter, it's all safely organized in boxes in the garage to be, you know, to be gone through someday. I don't know. We'll see.
That's true,
Um,
and I just want to show you something. I think you'll find this somewhat amusing. So this is 28 pages of my list of various things to do, to think of, to remember. Look
Yikes.
at your face. That's why this is because I get so many ideas and I want to follow
Uh-huh.
through on them. I really try and do it like right away,
Yeah.
but
But some things are bigger projects. You can't just drop
Yeah.
everything
And
and do the do a 3 week project when you're in the middle of another 3 week project, you know?
exactly, and that's the thing. Like I have some projects that I want to do and I want to focus on them.
Uh-huh.
And and so they take precedence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, one of my time management mentors, it's a struggle of mine. I think, creative people in general, time management can be a struggle.
Yeah.
Um, what she recommends, and actually, it's not just her, it's also, there's a guy named Nir Ayal, who has written several books on this topic as well. They both recommend putting your priorities not in a to-do list, but actually calendaring them. So
Oh, yeah.
you're
I've done
committing
that.
to a particular time to work on this particular task, and you're not going to check your email before you do it. You're
Yeah.
not going to just check Facebook real quick or Instagram, or now we have TikTok.
Yeah.
Um, and you get into the task and you only spend the time that you've allotted to do it.
Uh-huh.
So you don't allow yourself to get distracted, and it's supposed to really help. I don't know, I might have commitment issues. Like, I'll put something on the calendar if it's like this, it's an appointment with someone else. It's very hard for me to calendar time with myself and actually honor it. And I think that has something to do with not valuing myself as much as I value other people, or I don't know what the block is exactly, but
I don't
that's
know
the
about
idea.
that. I don't think that's what it is, if I can be so
Oh
forward in
yes,
saying.
please, please do.
And the
Please be
reason
bold.
why is because, first of all, I used to do that when I was a kid studying. I had a really good study process. I would
Hmm.
schedule a half hour or hour for math and so on, and I got everything done, and I loved the feeling. It was
Uh-huh.
a very good feeling, to work on it and to finish that hour or whatever it was. And then but then I think, because hearing you say that, and I've tried, and over the years, to do that, and sometimes I'm successful and sometimes I'm not. But I don't think it's an issue of not valuing yourself enough. I think it's different. I just think it's you're tired, or you want to
Hmm.
try something else, or maybe you
Yeah.
have maybe you do have to check your email, or
Hmm.
I mean, because we have more complications in life now. But
Mm.
yeah, I mean, I think about that every day,
Yeah.
scheduling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I thought when I was in France last week, I thought, okay, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna practice this particular track on this recording project that I'm doing. And I'm going back in the studio in mid-December to finish up. And I really want to get this song loose, and
Hmm.
natural and loose. I really want to get it that way. And I have to practice to get it that way. I can't just,
Right.
you know. And so I come back, and wouldn't you know it, the first week I'm back is really packed. And I just can't, there's no time to, well, maybe there is. Maybe I could squeeze in an hour somewhere, but it's not calling to me. So next week is a little more open. So I could schedule it in next week. But that's what I mean. Things come
Hmm.
up. I don't
Hmm.
feel like I don't feel like it's anything else except distractions
Right.
that
Right.
aren't necessarily bad distractions. It's just there's so much going on. I can imagine you have a lot of stuff that you're looking at every day. I mean,
Mm.
thinking about, planning, working on, right?
Yeah. And then there's life stuff too.
Yeah.
Like, we just had a little, very small little remodeling thing that we did over the weekend. We had some work people here, and the entire house was covered even though they put like the plastic sheets and stuff up, was covered with sheetrock dust from the demolition.
Yep.
And, I had to spend like a day and a half just cleaning. Like,
Yeah.
okay, well, there goes what I was gonna do for, my
Yeah.
husband and I both, we're like vacuuming. You had to vacuum the walls. There was like
Yeah.
dust everywhere. And we tried to keep everything covered, but it still seeped out. And it's a 1938 house, so, some of that dust probably had lead paint in it,
Yeah.
so it's important to get it, health-wise, to get it taken care of. But yeah, there was definitely, it's like, that's not a sexy, like exciting reason that I didn't get a lot of stuff done, but it is what, it is.
But that's true. That's,
Yeah.
we all have our life things too, unless it's funny because over the years, I've known people who are really just focused on their career,
Uh-huh.
or people who have told me that I have to just focus on my career. And realistically, that doesn't really work. It
Well,
doesn't
I
work for me
think,
and it doesn't work for anybody. Really, you have to
yeah,
be a full human.
yeah. I mean, I think there are those people, but maybe they're living in really dusty, dirty apartments with, no significant other and no pet, and like, and that's their choice. And if that's fine with them, then great, but I don't want to live like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I want to have friends and dinner parties, and I want to go on hikes, and, you know, and love on the people that I love in my family, and see my parents and my sisters, and travel, and all of that. And that all takes time away from songwriting for sure, but I also feel like to really be a good songwriter, I think you have to have some kind of a life experiences
Yeah.
to infuse into your writing. After a while, there's only so many times that you can mine that relationship from eighth grade. It's like I gotta move on, and have other things, and different perspectives, and meet people from other cultures, and I think all of that makes for more interesting writing and a more interesting life.
Yeah. Um, you said you wanted to play a little bit of live for us.
Oh
You
yeah, do
want
we have
to?
time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, let's see. What should I do? Maybe I'll do a piano song. So I have this new desk with like a keyboard drawer in it. So can you hear that?
Yeah.
Is it too loud? And then I gotta get,
Now, I
okay,
think that sounds like a live thing I'm hearing instead of that
instead of,
directly in.
it should be directly in. Let's see. Let's see. Oh yeah, you're right. It is live again. What happened? Oh,
Today is a
okay.
technically
Yeah, it's so weird.
challenged day.
I didn't change anything. Okay. So now, are we coming through the let's see.
That's softer. Nope.
No? Dang.
The other
What's
way,
what's
I could
going
hear you.
on? What's going on? Okay, let's see. Piano. I don't understand. Well, maybe I'll have to do a guitar song then.
Well, the other way that you had it, like when you first started playing,
Mm-hmm.
that was better. I could hear the piano. So
You
maybe you
could hear
can.
the clacking of the keys though too, right?
Yeah. But I could hear the volume much better.
Okay, let's see. How about that?
No. So you turned off something in the back of on the back?
Yeah, I did. I'm just still trying to dial this in somehow. I'm being stubborn, sorry. Oh, you can't really hear this because I can hear it great. It's
Nope.
coming through. Ah, rats. Okay. Okay, but you can hear my voice.
Yep.
So if I get my guitar and do a different song. Okay. So let me just check my tuning here real quick. Okay. That seems like it'll work. And can you hear it okay?
Yeah, I believe so.
So that's just coming through the same mic as my voice.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So this song is called Count on Me, and it has been released. It something I wrote with one of my collaborators, Diana Rose Dawson. She and I have written a lot of songs together, including the one that you played at the top of the show, Every Heart, One Love. That was a collab with her. She's a great songwriter and artist in her own right, who lives in the Phoenix area. She was in a much colder part of the country, and sometime during the pandemic, she and her family decided they'd had enough of the snow and the cold, and so they moved down to Phoenix. And then, you know, she's like, hot water is coming out of my cold water spigot, because it was so hot there. Her first summer, she was like, oh my God, what have we gotten ourselves into? But I think she loves it there. So anyway, we wrote this song for a wedding, the wedding of my niece in France, and I actually phonetically wrote out a French version of this chorus for the wedding, and people actually thought I could speak French, but I was just reading the phonetics. But I'm going to sing it in English right now. When I look in your eyes, I see your heart shine like gold, with your hands wrapped in mine. I know what a gift that I hold, even though there'll be twists in the road, my love, I'll never let you go. You can count on me. I'll lift you up when you're starting to fall. You can count on me. No matter what happens, I give you my all. I'll be the mirror reflecting your light when you think you forgot how to shine. You can count on me forever. Count on me. There'll be days when it's had much strength. Either way, please believe me, there's one thing that won't ever change. My love, my love, my love, my love. You can count on me. I'll lift you up when you're starting to fall. You can count on me. No matter what happens, I give you my all. I'll be the mirror reflecting your light when you think you forgot how to shine. You can count on me. Count on me. Cause I know I can count on you. You lift me up when I'm starting to fall. I can count on you. No matter what happens, I give you my all. I'll be the mirror reflecting your light when you think you forgot how to shine. You can count on me forever. Count on me.
Ah, nice. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Thanks very much. Let's see. Well, should I do another one on guitar?
Sure.
Let's see. What should I do? I think I'll do one from my songwriting duo project, Seventh and Hope. So, similar thing happened. You were describing the exercise that you had at the Vinx workshop, where you
Yeah.
put together with someone that you hadn't ever written with before, and kind of given an assignment, and then went off and wrote it and came back. So that's how I met my songwriting partner, Betty Lawrence. She and I have had a duo now for I think it's 5 years. We're a transatlantic duo, so she's in London and I'm in LA. And but we met at a songwriting camp when she was here in the US that was held in Ojai. And we were put together for a quick little exercise. It was like a 10-minute exercise. We were told that there was an artist, a sort of a legacy artist, who was looking for material for his next release. And so we wrote a song called Timeless that was, kind of what we thought would be for a legacy artist. And we were given 10 minutes.
Oh.
And everyone else in the group, everyone is divided up. We were the only pair, as I recall, who came back with a fully formed song in 10 minutes. We had 2 verses and a chorus. And it was a good song. And it ended up being on our first EP that we released together. It was our first song, and then we ended up, working together after that. But that song was sort of the catalyst for us starting to work together, because afterwards, I kept in touch with her, and I was like, Betty, what we were able to do in 10 minutes is kind of unusual. Like, I can't do that with everybody. And that wasn't something that she had the experience of being able to write that quickly. There's something about the two of us together,
Yeah.
this synergy that happened. And so we ended up working together, and we're still working together. And this particular song that I'm about to play, it's called Great Day to Be Alive. It is currently in an Aetna commercial, Aetna Health. And I have yet to find the commercial. So if anybody finds it, let me know, because they've paid us for it. So I know they're using it. And this also won the grand prize in the West Coast Songwriters International Songwriting Contest. It also placed in John Lennon, and I think it was nominated. It may have won. I can't remember, for a Positive Music Award as well. So it's been around, and I kind of view it as my one of my theme songs. As a cancer survivor, I tend to really like the Happy to Be Alive songs. I love writing the dark ones too, but this one is kind of like a manifesto, a personal manifesto for me. So, and it has a sing-along section, which you can only do if you're on mute. But the chorus is, it starts off like this, and this is the part you can sing along if you want. It's a great day to be alive. It's a great day to be alive. I got up on the bright side, nothing's gonna bring me down today. Talking to the mirrors, I gotta get out of my own way. I'm on the edge of the beginning, I'm at the start of something new. I can see the silver lining, yeah, that's coming through. It's a great day to be alive. It's a great day to be alive. Feeling good and loving life. It's a great day to be alive. It's a great day to be alive. Oh, yeah. I'm not gonna let no imperfection get me down. No, 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 no. I'm not gonna Photoshop or filter any of me out. No, I'm happy in my skin, just being me, myself, and I open up my eyes to see that I am who I am, and it's more than alright. Woo! It's a great day to be alive. It's a great day to be alive. Feeling good and loving life. It's a great day to be alive. It's a great day to be alive. Life's too short to dwell on yesterday, and I can't ever change it anyway. I'm gonna live like there's no tomorrow, 'cause we really only have today. Yeah, oh yeah. It's a great day to be alive. It's a great day to be alive. It's a great day to be alive. Feeling good and loving life. It's a great day to be alive. It's a great day to be alive.
Oh, that's great. that's a really perfect way to end the session too. That's so
Awesome.
nice. Very nice tune. I can see why that's a popular one.
Thank you.
Yeah, could you like write something uplifting now?
I don't know. I'll
Debbie
try. I'll
Downer.
try. I'll try.
Anyway, this my guest has been Patricia Bahia.
Actually,
She
I pronounce it Bahia, if you don't mind.
oh,
Yeah, because it's a Persian name. So I know it's
it's a
also part of
Persian
it.
name.
Yeah, in Brazil, it's Bahia. So when I
Yeah.
travel in South America, I just go with it, Patricia Bahia. But it's actually my grandmother, my Persian grandmother's name,
Oh.
and it's an Americanized spelling, which is what causes all the
Oh.
confusion. Yes, so sometimes it's spelled Bahyeh. Sometimes it's spelled
Oh.
I don't know. There's like all these different ways, but I spell it Bahia and pronounce it Bahia.
Well, thank you for telling me that.
Yeah, no worries. And it actually means the light of God.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no pressure, you
Yeah,
know.
I was just going to say that. Thanks for being on.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a while, so it's been fun to talk and find
Yeah,
out about all your successes, and it's just great. I'm so happy for you.
thanks very much. I really appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah. And did I tell you your number 485?
Wow.
We're
Oh,
approaching
really?
500. I'm still trying to decide. I have to decide soon what to do on 500.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to do something to
I
commemorate
know,
that. That's
something.
really something. So you started this during the pandemic, right?
The first week of the pandemic, I started it.
Oh my gosh. And have you been doing it every day, every weekday?
Well, the first 9 months, I did it 6 days a week. And then I figured,
Whoa.
yeah, just stop whenever I feel like stopping. And then after 9 months, I thought, yeah, I think I'll go down to 3 days a week so I can have more of my own time. And then I realized that I could put up archives on the other days so that people could always come see at noon, or whenever. And so, yeah. And then that's been going on, you know. Um, how long have we been in the pandemic?
I know. I think
Almost 3 years, right?
it's gonna be 3 years in
Yeah.
March.
Yeah, so I've been basically for 2 years, I've been doing 3 days a week. And sometimes, like this week, actually, which I'd like to say before we hang up, that tomorrow, it's usually now Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But tomorrow, since I was traveling, I'm having on a composer who has done a lot of work with Dori Amarillo, who's a guitarist, arranger, composer, and engineer in LA, who's really, really tasteful. So she's coming out with her first record, and she's very talented. So she's on tomorrow, Nancy Smith.
Mm.
And then I have an archive of a you'd probably really dig her, Clarissa Saad. She's
Mm.
Brazilian, but she lives in Chicago, and her father is one of the famous do um, two classical guitarists, the Assad brothers. They're very, very famous, and she's incredibly talented. She's a singer, pianist, composer, arranger. I mean,
Mm.
she's very amazing. And then Saturday, Dr. Bobby Rodriguez. Do you remember him from Cal State?
Oh, I think I do. Yeah.
He was in the Latin area.
Right. Yeah.
And then Sunday, which this is highly unusual for me, but I have a friend in Korea who I've recorded with my record Bohemian. He and I had a really nice duo situation. And he lives in Korea now. And so to get him on, or even just to get a recording of a show, I had to get up early. So so Sunday's show, ladies and gentlemen, will start at 9 to 11. So we'll see how Cho and I are doing. That's Cho Yun Sung. That's his name. He's a
Oh,
really
wow.
great piano
Cool,
player.
cool.
Yeah. So, and then next week back to kind of normalcy. Oh, you know who I'm having on next week?
Mm.
think it's next week. Yeah. Jim Keltner.
Okay.
Come on, you don't know the name Jim Keltner? Patricia, you
Oh,
must look up who Jim
okay.
Keltner is.
All right. I'm
He-
writing it down.
Yeah, he's the drummer on everything, like all the classic rock people and more. I mean, just he's from everywhere.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So Jim Keltner, it's going to be fun because
Okay.
he's a really
Awesome.
fun person to talk to also.
And so, have
Okay.
you ever had any, in the almost 500, have you ever had a repeat guest, or each one is
Yes,
unique?
I have had a few extra ones. Bevan Manson, because he's a friend of mine, he's a pianist, and he's just got so much to say. Um, and then a few people like they wanted to promote something that was,
Mm-hmm.
you know, coming up, um, but not many, like maybe four. Every now and then somebody postpones or cancels, and I'm left. I don't like to get somebody really like, okay, tomorrow I have an opening. You want to come on? Because I don't think it's respectful. So
Mm.
usually on those days, it's me talking about either other artists or last time I actually played a lot of my own recordings, but I also showed people related to the recordings, their projects or talked about them. So I like doing that too, but I don't want to do that too much.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Cool. I was just curious. Well, this has been great. I've really enjoyed this time and looking forward to actually watching it back.
All right. All right. Well, thanks, my love.
Thank you.